you can ask all the questions that you want regarding the major and the department. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our first guest. So we have Aigerim here. She is the first year political science student, and the floor is yours, Aigerim.
Thank you very much, Malika. So good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me well? Okay, excellent. So my name is Aigerim. As Malika said, I am fourth year political science student. I will just briefly talk about myself. I will talk about what I like about this major, what are some opportunities, and some just advice that I can give for freshmen. Hopefully that will be beneficial for you guys. So let's start with me. So I got admitted to University in 2018, and I declared political science major. One of the main reasons why I declared is, that's gonna sound cliche, but that's, I guess, my teachers at school, they had kind of raised this interest in me in political science, and I thought that was the correct decision. And for now, what I like about the major is the syllabus grade distribution. So most of the time, our grades are distributed, equally distributed throughout the semester. So we have essays, we have midterms, and other assignments. So it's not going to be, oh, you're not studying the whole semester, and I'm going to cram all the knowledge for the midterm or for the final exam. So you have to be active throughout the whole semester. So that's one of the things I like most about the major. Another thing is the relationship with the professors. So professors are always there to help, and you can attend the office hours whenever you like, well, warning them in advance. So they're not going to be, oh, I don't have time, or that's not my job. So I personally think that's the learning process, because most of the time is, oh, you're studying something and you're given the task and just do this task. It's not, it doesn't work like that. So the learning process is to talk with your peers, to talk with your professors, and even, I guess, yeah, that's what I like. And regarding the opportunities, is the first opportunity that you easily can find is working with professors. So it entails that you should be active and you should be outstanding in the class. So first, the professor can email you, or you can actually email professors to get some research with them. So what you can do is look at their profile in university's website, see their research interest. You can even ask them that during the office hours, and see whether you would like to maybe see how it's doing, how this field maybe might be interesting for you, and just email them. You can email them at the beginning of the semester. Sometimes professors don't have available seats, but I'm pretty sure that they will tell you maybe next semester or maybe summer. So that's the thing, that's, I think, kind of easiest thing to do. And then we have internships. Regarding the internships, I would say browse Twitter and LinkedIn. For that, you have to have, I think, solid LinkedIn account. It helps to build the networking. And another thing you can do is to have a good relationship with senior students and maybe be part of some clubs. So in that way, you can see what they're doing. And I think they're always happy to share their experience. So you can see, oh, there may be someone who already graduated, had internship in this company, in this organization, and it will be, I think, beneficial for you to see, because most of the time when you go things, it's either they do not accept Kazakhstan citizens, or it's either 35 or 40 hours during the semester that I think you cannot afford having 5 classes. For example, and another thing I will suggest is to find internships, or to write them in LinkedIn, or to see. So basically, when you find one organization that's maybe available for internships on Twitter, and once you follow them, there are a lot of other recommendations that you can see, and you get familiar with the people in the field. Another thing I would like to talk about is masters. So there are a lot of opportunities because our political science and international relations is not a specific field. So you have a variety of opportunities. I guess it depends on you. I would personally suggest to start seeing masters maybe in summer before your fourth year. Have a list and have a list with diverse majors. So, for example, if you want to go to international security, just don't have only that international security in your list. Maybe have another options like a B plan, maybe C plan. So that's very important. And the problem with the masters that I'm seeing with a lot of people right now is they want to, for example, go to, let's say, global affairs, but they don't know what they're going to do after. That's the problem I'm facing as well. And I think that's one of the things that you should know. I would personally think you should know is, okay, this master's degree, I'm going to get it. What is going to give me? Why do I need this? What kind of job I'm going to do after this? That's more like a practical questions that you can think about it. If we talk about some classes that I like, I liked taking, I will say make sure to take PSRM and quantitative methods with good professors that you know you will learn a lot. In my case, I think I have I have a gap there, so it kind of hinders a lot of tasks because of that. So I would advise to ask seniors and to talk about how PSRM and the quantitative method class can be taken, what kind of professors will be more effective, I guess. Personally, I enjoy taking classes of Professor Dumai's classes. So I think he shows a lot of quantitative methods papers, and he teaches how to read political science papers, because in other classes most of the time it's not that way. And I also liked European Union. It was, I think, one of the practical classes that I have taken. Because of my interest, I also enjoy taking Professor Cravan's Just War Theory, and now I'm taking Professor Sullivan's Homeland Security. I guess this is going to tie really good for my master's, so make sure to take a lot of advanced classes in a field that you would like to pursue. So it's not going to be maybe random, like, oh, in IR, international relations, then there is a comparative, or then there's insecurity. Maybe try to take classes in one field that are related. Well, regarding the advice that I can give is probably first, plan ahead. Just plan once you know your deadlines, plan ahead of for the semester. Make sure that you're spending a lot of time on assignments. You're not going to just write it down in one day. I think that's just not a learning process. Also, I would like to suggest to be a part of some student clubs. Not a lot, but that will help you to integrate in this community way faster. And you're going to actually learn a lot from them. And also, it's readings. I remember reading first, second year, reading all of these tasks, and it's going to take a lot. It usually takes a lot of time, but what you can do, actually read not a lot, but just skim and scan, and you can just get the main argument of the reading way faster. That's actually a very controversial thing, next what I'm going to say, but I think GPA is really important if you are planning for masters. So make sure to keep that in mind as well. Plus, I will say just try, in terms of internships, just try to find things and email them. Don't be afraid. What the worst thing can happen is you get ignored, but it's fine. Just try to apply for everything. I remember, for example, I applied for this analytical school with Paper Lab and Central Asian Bureau, I think. So I got rejected. It was last semester, but then I was contacted by Central Asian Bureau Analytics, and they said, hey, you got rejected, but we saw your CV and we would like you to have an internship with us. So I guess even if you got rejected, there is some doors that will be open because of that. So for the rest of the time, if you have questions, I would be happy to answer them. For now, that's it. Hopefully it was useful.
Yeah, thank you, Aigerim. I was actually thinking notes myself. So yeah, guys, if you have any questions, you can just unmute yourself or just write something in the chat.
So there is a question, what clubs I would recommend to attend. So if you're a political science student, then I would for sure recommend Association of Political Science Students, APSS, and ABUN. I'm not sure. I think ABUN is active now. It wasn't before, but it is active now. So you will learn a ton from that.
So the name of the first club was Association of Political Science Students, and we'll hear from them a little bit later, so stay tuned. And so do you have any more questions? Okay, yes, then Mohammed, you can unmute yourself.
Sorry, I don't think I really understand the meaning of political science and international relationships. Like, what workplace I can apply to after the graduation? Like,
That's a good question that a lot of students are struggling, I would say, but it depends on you. For example, I know the students who are applying for development, they're also applying for political science. If you want to be in academia, I guess for now that is the answer that I know to the extent. Sorry, and one word advice that I would like to give, I cannot emphasize this enough, go to writing centers. So if you have huge papers, go to the writing centers, they will help you.
okay, thank you.
So again, there's a question in the chat. How many hours in a week we should study if we choose PSIR major? Will we have any time for extracurriculars?
Well, personally, I think if you want to have good, really good grades, you can do that, but something is in my case, at least something is going to suffer. It's either your sleep or your personal life, social life. That's the truth. In terms of how many hours I study, I'm not really sure, but I study, but I have breaks for sleep and life. I guess that's the case.
Yeah, I can relate. So Yersultan, you can also unmute yourself and ask your question.
Okay, hello to everyone. I just wanted to ask about these writing centers. Can you tell more about them?
Yes, I can tell more about them. So what you can do is there is a website, I think my online, so I'm going to send the link here later. What you can do, you can book the appointments with different writing center tutors. So let's say that you're stuck with a paper, you don't know how to write it, if it's essay. You can go there and you can brainstorm with them, they ask you questions, so it will be it will be helpful for you to structure your paper. Or if you have paper, you can go there and they will help you to they will help you with your argument. Maybe something is unclear, because most of the time when we write essays, everything is clear in our heads, but when after 2 days when we open the paper, it just does not make sense. So I would suggest you to go there. You will work with instructors that teach rhetorics and the composition. So it's not editing session, it's just to help you to make it clear, to make your arguments clear, to make your thesis clear, and so on. Hopefully that answers the question. And there's another one in the chat. Which social activities have I done? What campaigns were done in political science community? Oh, okay. I think that's a question for Darina. I think she will talk about the activities of APSS later. How do you prepare for the graduate work? Is there actually a graduate work? Does it mean like master's or graduate work? I'm not really sure.
Like дипломная работа.
We don't have diploma year about in political science major. So I think that's one of the reasons why we don't have it, because in 4th-level classes, we already have like huge papers that we need to write. So we don't have one graduate work paper. We have to write
Okay.
a paper for each class.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and if there are no more questions, we will proceed. So you have one last chance to raise your hand or write something. Okay, thank you so much, Aigerim. This was really useful, even for me. So yeah, thank you for your amazing speech. And now we'll have our amazing professor, Maja Savevska, with her speech about the PSIR department. So Professor Maja, the floor is yours.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I'm taking the liberty to share my screen. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Perfect. So I prepared a very short presentation to kind of guide us through the short 10 minutes presentation for today's Majors Fair. I apologize if there are any internet interruptions, because lately I have a lot of problems with the internet on campus. I have 2 kind of providers, but sometimes both of them fail at the same time. So I hope that in case I was kind of like disrupted, there was a freeze in the video, please write it in the chat so I can restate what I have said. It happens a lot lately. Welcome everybody to this major fair, major month. I want to thank Malika and the Academic Advising Unit for organizing this for the first year students who are kind of really curious about what this major is already about. I know by now already, I teach undeclared students, freshmen, and by now most of the students are kind of very familiar with the majors. They are very good at talking to the sophomores, juniors, and seniors about what the majors is about. So a lot of them have already made their mind about what they want to pursue. But those of you that are still hesitant and still have some questions, I hope that this presentation would clarify some of the uncertainty about what kind of degree is this. So my name is Maja Savevska, and I'm one of the assistant professors at the Department of Political Science and International Relations. And it's a very popular major actually at our School of Sciences and Humanities. I think after, at least in the social science fields, it's right after economics in popularity. It's a social science degree that studies the way societies govern themselves, right? How do political communities come together and resolve collective action problems that we face on a daily basis, right? And during the degree, you will be taking a combination of required comparative politics, international relations, and a little bit of political theory courses. And each of these subfields of political science, whether it's international relation of CP, explored certain aspect of the political system. So in international relations, for example, you would explore the interstate relations and global affairs. So how countries cooperate internationally to resolve collective action problems. And in the comparative politics courses, you would be both the intro and later on the intermediary and advanced comparative politics classes, you would be looking in depth at the political systems of countries. Okay, so how states decide to govern themselves, right? Like what kind of political system we have, the division of power between the judiciary, the executive branch, and the legislative branch. So we will be you will be studying in details political systems and electoral politics and party politics and whatnot. And by the time of completion, students should have a comprehensive knowledge of political issues. Okay, so this is what you're going to be actually studying in this degree. And we have amazing faculty, around 15 of us with diverse backgrounds, both with CP and IR background. And we offer actually as a department, I'm very proud of this department because we offer a lot of electives. So you do have a lot of elective courses, 300 and 400 level from various subfields of political science that would kind of like give you a very good grounding in political science. And especially if you have certain interests, you can pursue it by taking upper level classes in comparative politics or IR or both. Now, I was asked by Malika to reflect on a few things in this presentation, and I will follow her instruction. So one of the things that kind of like students are really interested in knowing is what kind of skills they would get from taking this degree. You would be able to actually, on top of understanding and getting a really comprehensive knowledge about political issues, along the way, you would have something that we call like exportable skills that you can take on the labor market later on, whatever you're pursuing as a career. So you will have a you would be good at conceptual analysis, you would be good at critical and strategic thinking. Upon completion, you should already be better at persuasive communication, and oral skills should improve. You would learn how to form evidence-based analysis, how to become an effective writer, and how to become even a researcher. So the good part about our classes is that a lot of them are, I would say actually most of them are writing intensive classes. So we share this philosophy as a department that political science students should be very good at writing, and not just any kind of writing, but it should be really effective writing. So you should be able to communicate ideas, form arguments, and defend arguments by evidence-based analysis. And you would be introduced to various methods that you can apply to get you there. So along the way, in the 4 years of studying with us, you will, believe it or not, improve all of those skill sets. And they're very needed, like they're really desirable graduate attributes. So with these skill sets, you are wanted on the labor market, and they are exportable. So whatever kind of career you pursue, you would be relying on the skill set. So I say that most of our graduates would kind of, at the end of the degree, would have perfected most of them, and you will see the improvement that you have made over the course of 4 years in the style of writing, in the quality of research that you're producing, in your ability to engage in analysis. And I think that all of our seniors here would agree, and juniors in this group would agree that they have themselves, I as the teacher, have seen major improvement in their writing skills. So this is really a very rewarding experience for us as faculty members to witness. Then Malika asked me also to categorize to give a brief a description of the characteristics of successful PSIR students. And now I think that successful PSIR student is not much different than a successful econ or math student. You have to be diligent, self-disciplined, responsible, curious, and organized. And the only difference with political science students is that you have to have interest and curiosity in this subfield, in this discipline. And we have a lot of successful students. And I think that one of the best thing about PSIR as a department is our students who are trailblazers, true trailblazers. They have kind of carve a potential career path for you. So we have students who are across the world, either at graduate programs or pursuing careers in humanitarian aid or international organizations. So they are your role models that you should follow. And we have actually quite a long list of successful students, actually. So the Hall of Fame is very big with political science major. And hopefully some of you would join this Hall of Fame, and you would become a successful PSIR graduate who would be trailblazing the path for other undeclared freshmen in the years to come. But make sure that you develop some sort of time management strategy early on in the semester. And if you get into the habit of managing your time well at the beginning of the semester, in the first semester, this can be a successful strategy that you can pursue for the rest of your studies. Because as you know, we're not like other universities. We don't have just summative exams at the end of the semester. We have actually writing intensive courses have a lot of tasks that need to be completed throughout the semester. So you have a lot of work to do. Every week you need to complete something to successfully finish a course. So if you are self-disciplined and manage your time well, you will be able to get high scores in most of your classes. But that is needed. Diligence and self-discipline is needed. And finally, few things about research opportunities. Malika asked me to reflect on the possibility for you to work on your research skills. Now, as I said, in most of the classes, you would be doing some sort of research for the papers, for the term papers that you would be writing. And this goes for the 300 and 400 level classes. But on top of that, there are research opportunities for those of you who are really interested in maybe staying in academia. And even if not just staying in academia, even in for the world of consulting and whatnot, you will need to develop research skills, and there would be opportunities to be somebody's RAs. So I have personally employed RAs, and I have worked with RAs. They're also, if the professor doesn't have a grant and cannot actually employ you for the research assistantship position, they can offer you research practicum that offers credit. It's a credit-bearing practice where you can do some research work, and hopefully you will master certain method and get to know more, get acquainted closely with the research process actually. And you have to reach out to professors, as Aigerim also mentioned before, and I want to underscore that. Don't be afraid to talk to your professors that you're interested in. Like if you share certain common interest, reach out to them, make it known that you are available for future research job if there is opening. And I think that a lot of our graduates have experience as RAs for one of the 15 members of the faculty of the department. And I will finish with talking about the career path, what Aigerim started already discussing. This is, I guess, on the mind of all of you, and especially your parents who might be pushing you into a degree that or a degree path that they think major that it's kind of better suited upon that would enable you to get a job easier upon graduation. There are a lot of career opportunities for political science students. Many of you would pursue a career in public administration. You would go and work for the ministry. Some of you would become actually maybe join even politics, but most of you who would join the public administration job market would not be involved in making political decision, but would be involved in making a policy decision. And this is something that you would learn in political science, the difference between the two. So you would, thanks to your evidence-based analysis skills that you got in our major, you would be good to actually go and work in the public administration and create policy, okay? Policy that politicians later on can adopt and make an impact in society. So a lot of you would pursue career in public administration. A lot of our graduates go to become consultants, so they work for the Big Four. They work for, some of them go to journalism, some of them work for NGOs, both locally but also internationally, INGOs. So we have students who work for humanitarian organizations abroad. Some of you work for think tanks, locally or internationally. Some of you who have especially good connections would end up in diplomacy. But don't forget that you can also do a lot more with our with our degree. You can continue either a career in business. So we have, or finance. We have actually not small amount of students who pursue career in HR, marketing, and even finance. So we have students who work for the Central Bank of Kazakhstan, students who even pursue a PhD in finance afterwards. So you get really useful skills that you can use later on to carve the career path that you want. And the good thing about our major is that we kind of try to give advice to students about internship opportunities that would enable you to make the right decision for your career path. It's only by trying various options out there that you would find out what you really like to do. So we encourage our students to pursue a postgraduate education, but especially after getting some work experience. So some of you would continue immediately after the BA degree to do a master, but we encourage you to get some work experience either during the summer, through internship, or even upon graduation. Go work somewhere and see if you like that line of work, and then pursue a graduate education that is closer to that line of work than abstract MA in political science. So We have amazing career advising center as well, so they can help you out with that. But also a lot of our political science professors are offering advice on future career path. And the best so far ambassadors are those that have carve a path for you. So reach out to the alumni network. They will tell you how they got where they are. And we have students who work for the IMF and the World Health Organization and interesting IOs. And please reach out to them and ask how did they get there. That might give you an idea of how to get foot in the door. Well, on that note, I would like to open up the floor for Q&A now.
Thank you so much, Professor. So yeah, if you have any questions, you can just unmute yourself and write in the chat.
Please don't hesitate to, don't be shy. I already see some of my students, the undeclared students that are taking my Intro to R course. Hello, guys. So Arujan Bolat, how many students apply for this major each year? She asked that question. We have a very high interest in PSR as a major, and that's why we had to kind of like create a new gatekeeping rules about who can declare a PSR major. Because at some point the popularity was exceeding even the econ department, which has more of like a sort of like it's not a hard cap, but it's like a soft cap on the number of students that can register. So because we never had a hard cap, sometimes we have second year students, we might have more than 130 sophomores. Some years we have 80, 90, but like 80 and 90, that's the number. That's the sweet spot that we are looking for. We're gonna start ranking students based on their GPA in their intro classes, and then we're gonna have like students that meet certain requirements. You are familiar with this. Those who are taking already the intro to IR and intro to CP and intro to theory already know that you will be kind of like ranked looking at the averages across this across these courses grades, and we will have a list of around 80 students who can declare political science as a major at the end of the first year. Of course, there is the back door of declaring political science major. You can be sophomore and change your mind, and we won't put a hard cap on that number. So a lot of students, we have this, it's very common. Half of you would like to declare econ major and you realize it's impossible to do so. So in the second year, you change your mind, and we will still allow students who have tried other majors to switch to political science and take these intro classes later on in the second year. So, which means that actually 80 is just like one number that we are looking for in the first year, but like later on, we will have like more and more PSIR declared majors. Okay, so thank you for the presentation. My question is, do NU offer student exchange in PSR major? If yes, which university are included in this program? So student exchange programs, I don't think we offer it's a department student exchange, like in a sense of like going somewhere else for a year. We don't offer, but I think students are welcome to pursue it by themselves. And we have had at least a couple of exchanges with Europe that were semester long. And we have few students in the past who have gone for some exchange program for a semester, and then they came back and they had they work closely with our vice dean Phil Enns to have their credits recognized and courses recognized when they return here. So I think that actually, given the liberal arts education that we are pursuing as a school, we encourage students to go to exchange programs if they can find something for themselves. So we have been very supportive of students who have done that. We have sometimes summer schools. I don't know, most of you have heard about the Wisconsin summer school program that was very popular with our PSR students, and actually with a lot of other majors in the school. But as of 2020, due to the pandemic, we don't anymore send students in person to Wisconsin, but there is this online summer school. So I'm not sure still about this year what would happen with this program, but that's not an exchange program, that's just a summer school. And a lot of our students pursue summer schools. Like I think that most of the successful students pursue a couple of summer schools in their BA degree. And there are a lot of options for you. We have, I'm a member of the Student Affairs Committee, and we approve funding for student travel. And actually, political science students are really resourceful in finding interesting opportunities, either for exchange program, for summer schools or conferences, or kind of debate championships. And we actually send a lot of PSR students to travel abroad. We support their travels and to attend some of these programs, but they're not just exchange programs, not to the kind that we have like a year-long or semester-long exchange programs. Do you teach PLS 1 in spring semester as well? I don't. So I have done it exceptionally in the past when there is usually high demand of, we need students to be taking this class, and there are not enough faculties who can teach this service course. But as of this year, I'm teaching PLS 150 only in the fall semester.
Okay, so guys, if there are some more questions, please just ask them now. If not, then we'll proceed. So I guess there are no questions. Thank you so much, Professor Savevska. This was really informative. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. And now we'll proceed with the president of the Association of Political Science Students, Darina. She also is a fourth-year PSIR student. So the floor is yours, Darina.
Hello, and thank you very much for all the previous beautiful presentations by Professor Savevska and Aigerim. My name is Darina, and I'm here to present the Association of Political Science Students. Just give me a second, I will open my presentation. So I am currently the president of Association of Political Science Students, and I will present. So we'll start with formalities. This is quite an old organization. It was established in the year of 2014. And it started as an organization dedicated to students who are majoring, minoring, or simply interested in the major, because we currently have even student members from engineering and computer science departments. So we're really open. And a very important point, the association is politically independent, nonprofit, and student-run. So we're not being lobbied by anyone. In terms of what we do, I won't have time to go through each and every activity, but I will go through really important ones. So first of all, we conduct lots of events. This includes interviews with alumni, as was mentioned by Professor Savevska and Aigerim. It's really important to have these networks. And APSS is one of the ways that you can use to communicate with alumni. We also do interviews with faculty, with students, and experts in the field of IR and politics. And again, to the networking point, we bring together students, especially during the pandemic. It's really hard for the first-year students and second-year students to feel the community, the PSIR community that we have. And APSS works really hard on that to bring you together in such events like political junkies or parliamentary simulation and other events. And also, we popularize science. because we know the political science and IR, political science is science. So we do this via our social media. We post different educational content, different articles, and we also welcome freelance writers. So feel free to email us if you have any ideas. And I want to talk a bit more about some events that we conduct, including PSIR talks, and why it's so important for you to attend these talks. So these are events that we conduct with alumni, with NU students who pursued political science and IR major at NU. And these are students who either pursue graduate studies after the studying at NU, or these are people who go to work in NGOs or as Professor mentioned before, in NGOs and other human rights organizations, or maybe they do finance afterwards. And so these talks introduce all these students to you, and you have a chance to ask questions, and you have a chance to communicate to them later. They're all very friendly, very congenial, and you can always email them or write them in LinkedIn, and they will always answer your questions. So please go to our YouTube channel, go through these videos. They're really useful. And maybe if you feel like you're confused, all these students at some point in their studies were really confused and did not know what to do, but they ended up in really great places. So please go ahead and check these videos. Another really big project that we're trying to implement now is Talking Politics. We have only one video with this, but we do really want to you to check this out too. The importance of this talk is that, as for political science students, it's crucial to know our own region, Eurasian region, right? Central Asian, Kazakhstan, and other states. It's really important to keep up with the news and also to know the experts in the field, the experts who study the region. Talking Politics is aimed at introducing these experts to you, and also they answer to different questions about the region, studies some issues, foreign policy of Kazakhstan. And Iskandar Akalbayev is one of the experts, and we have this video Talking Politics about the foreign policy of Kazakhstan. You also can check that out. And we also have really beautiful interviews with our faculty. So as was mentioned before, it's really important to know what are the research interests of professors, because at some point you will be working really close with them. You will be research assistants, or you will be asking recommendation letters, etc., etc. And it's really important to know what they study, to know how their research interests are in line with yours, and also just to know maybe their career path. Maybe you want to pursue that just the same career path, or maybe you will be studying at universities that our professors once studied at. So please check these interviews out too. They're really nice, because professors talk about their lives. What do they do daily? What kind of stuff do they write? What do they read? So please check them out too. And other activities, so we do have social media. We do have our pages on Instagram and VK. On Instagram, it's mainly sort of educational content. So we introduce different concepts from IR and politics. We also have different lists of, like, the last post that we had is about fully funded programs, master's degrees in PSIR. Also very, very useful. So you can also check them. We have different interactive content, such as quizzes or historical figures. We talk a lot about historical figures that were important in Kazakhstani politics once. So you can also go there and look. And yet another activity that we do is that we post articles. in English, and usually again about very specific to Kazakhstan, like how does the Kazakhstani parliament work, or what does the Tokayev speech at United Nations General Assembly means. And also, more than that, if you have any ideas or if you want to write for us, please email us. We are very open. And also, if you are a member of a new APSS, then you will meet with us weekly and discuss different news and politics. And it's not really nerdy, it's really fun. So please come join us. And again, yes, we really try to make politics and IR fun, because it is. It's not only about research papers and academic articles. So we also have different memes and cards on our social media. So please go and check them out too. And I think that's it. Here's some information that you might need. And I think I'm open to any questions.
Yes, thank you, Darina, so much. So if you guys have any questions, just unmute yourself.
Good morning. I would like to ask that would you give that booklets for the topics and for discussion board?
You mean weekly discussions?
Yep. Thanks.
Oh, okay. Okay. So what I meant by weekly discussion is when you become a member of the NU APSS board. So that's when we have weekly meetings, and that's when we can discuss like anything, any kind of topic that you bring up, any kind of news. As for students who are not members yet, all the available stuff is on social media, and you can email us if you have any questions, and these are events. But we can discuss politics and news only when you are a member of NU APSS. Okay?
Okay, thanks.
Okay, guys, are there more questions?
Okay, can I just clarify one really important thing? So if you guys will think about joining the NU APSS, you can do so starting from next semester. So please be subscribed to a NU APSS mail list, and you will always have this notifications about if we have a recruitment or something, and we will have in the January, I think. So please feel free to join and email us. And you can also email us during the semester too. There is quite a possibility for you to join us during the semester.
Okay, so if there are no more questions, then I guess that's it for our PSIR major session. I want to thank the guests that gave speeches today. So because the speeches were amazing. Thank you. They were very informative. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate you coming. And right now we're going to continue with our history major session. But again, thank you for coming.
Maybe I can start.
Yeah. So today with us we have Nargis Kapasho, who is a third-year history major student. And yes, Nargis, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you all for such an amazing speeches. I'm really enjoying the session today. And my name is Nargis Kapasho. I'm a third-year history student, and nice to see you all here. My journey with history began when I was studying at school. I was preparing for ENT, which is National Examination in Kazakhstan,
My main subjects were English and world history. While we mostly tried to memorize facts about events, I still spent time exploring general trends in history. And after that, I passed the test with 120 out of 140 and got my grants at Astana University and NU. And of course, I choose to study here. And during my first year, I closed a couple of 100-level history courses, growing my interest in the subject. I'm genuinely glad about this decision, as there are many advantages to studying history at our university. Firstly, there are not many students in this major, unfortunately. Therefore, professors would more likely to spend time with you, cooperate, provide consultations. This is a great opportunity, especially for undergraduates that are only exploring this field. Furthermore, specialists in our department are very knowledgeable and competent in their studies. There are many different specializations at our faculty. For instance, history of medicine and sexuality, the Soviet Union, Central Asian and East European histories. So I would advise taking history courses for all students in general, as it expands your perception of the world, past, present, and even future events. And next, let's talk about job opportunities, one of the most essential components of our degree. From my point of view, employment after history depends mostly on your education and skills. So what do I mean by that? If you check the statistic, you may notice that many history majors find their jobs in business, marketing, accounting, law sectors. And I remember reading one article about a history professor and how he talked about an employment from his former student. That student got a job as a business consultant. And that professor pointed out two significant facts. First, the knowledge from studying history helps the employee gain a better understanding of many financial and investment processes. For example, the economic crisis during the Great Depression and the stock market's fall in 2008. And second, the general need to analyze and find good sources of information played a more significant role, actually. Basically, if we're talking about history degree, it outweighs the need for experience in theory in long term in those sectors. And if you are interested in learning about more job opportunities and statistics, I will send you a link in the chat. And give me 1 second, please. So yeah, and you can also check out Reddit pages such as Ask Historians or History. And at the same time, it is also beneficial to talk about more traditional ways of using your history degree. For instance, being a researcher, writer in a journal, archivist, and unfortunately, you would more likely to need an additional degree of masterate or doctorate. However, you should not get disappointed so quickly. Many governments are looking forward to having educated specialists conducting meaningful research about their country's heritage. One of the essential pluses here is that you will more likely to get a stipend or funding. And on this note, I would like to wish freshmen to focus on their personal interests. It may require a bit more time to understand what you want and expect from your degree, yet many organizations are looking forward to your participation experience. And if you have any questions, want to receive a consultation, or potential write any historical articles, please feel free to email me. And I hope to introduce a new project for anyone that is interested in history in the nearest future. So I will write in my email in the chat also.
Thank you, Nargis, for such a meaningful speech. So if you guys have any questions, you can just unmute yourself right now or write it in the chat. And also, I think, Nargis, you're starting the history club right now, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to studying. I studying, so yes, if there are some students that want to join, please. I'm ready to talk about it.
Yeah, so do you guys have any questions?
Oh, great.
You already
Yes,
have a member.
Hello.
Okay, then if you guys have no questions, we'll proceed with Professor Bowen. Oh, yeah. Sultan, you have a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask about summer schools or research opportunities or any particular internships for a first-year student in history. Can you name any particular examples, please?
I mean, I think we had some students participate in internship with national museums in Almaty and Astana. So you can also explore that. Maybe they need some guides or archivists. I'm not sure about it because I still looking forward to explore that. But maybe also our professor can talk about it later. Yes. Is history degree suitable if one wants to pursue career in law? I think it's a great question, and I would more incline for yes than no, because history provides some good explanation how many laws appeared, and many students also from history join law master degrees.
Okay, then. So thank you so much, Nargis, for your speech. I will now invite Professor Elliott Bowen for his speech on the history department. So Professor Bowen, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Malika, for hosting this event. It's great to be here. Thank you to all the students. I'm looking forward to hearing from you and responding to some of your questions about our history program. And thanks also to Nargis for that wonderful speech outlining some of the many great things about our program and how they've really helped you in your academic career. So it's great to see you in particular. So I just wanted to spend a few moments talking about our History BA program, some of the skills that you can acquire with a History BA, some of the opportunities that it presents to you in terms of career paths after graduation, and also seeing what you have to think about our program and answering whatever questions you might have. So I'm going to go ahead here and share my screen if I can, and then open up my PowerPoint right here. So let's see. Let me just start this. First, who am I? My name is Elliott Bowen. I'm an assistant professor in the Department of History, Philosophy, and Religious Studies. Specifically speaking, I am an historian of medicine and public health. This semester, I'm teaching classes on both of those subjects, actually. Intro to History of Medicine is a 100 level class, and History of Public Health is a 200 level class, which is actually cross-listed with PSIR, as are a number of the classes that our historians offer at NU. Actually, history and political science have a lot of overlap. Political history itself is one of the biggest areas in history. So, one of the things that you're thinking about, if you have an interest in politics, but you're not sure that you want to be a PSIR major, you can take a lot of history classes while learning about politics and the history of politics and governments and the state at the same time. So I would encourage anyone who wants to learn about politics, perhaps from a more historical perspective, to look up some of our wonderful history faculty here at NU and see the kinds of courses they're offering, because a lot of them teach and do research in political history. I should also say that it's a relatively common thing for students to double major in PSIR and history. Over the last few years, I think we've had about a half dozen or so students who have managed to graduate with degrees in both of those programs. So if you're thinking about expanding your PSIR degree a little bit, taking on additional courses in history, you can actually double major in both of those fields, and it gives you even more opportunities in terms of career paths after graduation. As you can see, we have about 12 different faculty who teach history in our department, all different kinds of history. One thing I want to emphasize right here is that history is a great field, particularly if you don't know exactly what you want to do in life. And the reason that I say that is because history, broadly defined, is the study of the past. It's the study of past peoples and past places. And it encompasses everything that has happened in the past. Right? If it happened in the past, it's history, you can study it. I think oftentimes when people think about history as an academic discipline, they think about wars, military campaigns, they think about governments and states, and history does encompass those things, but history is also about things like medicine and disease and science, and as Nargiz mentioned, it addresses things like gender and sexuality. There's the history of the environment. There's the history of popular culture, which has to do with movies and TV and radio. It really is a wide open area of study that allows you to basically take whatever you're interested in and find the history of it, tracing its roots all the way through to the present. So if you're kind of unsure of what you want to do with your degree, if you're unsure what you want to do with your career after you graduate, history is actually a really great option because it allows you to explore lots of different interests that you have. Because like I said, all of those are history. So why study history then? What makes it such an important field? There are, I think, 3 key points that I would like to emphasize. One is that history gives you a lot of flexibility on the job market. History is often presented as the kind of queen of the social sciences. And that is true because when you're studying history, you're not just learning about past civilizations, you're also learning about lots of other fields, right? You're learning about politics, you're learning about society, you're learning about religion. And to study those things, historians have to gain some familiarity with the kinds of concepts and theories and methodologies that people in different areas use. Right? So when you take a history class, your professors might be exposing you to concepts from anthropology. They might be borrowing theories from political science. They might be using economic data and analyzing it with quantitative methods that are borrowed from economics and math. So when you take a history class, you're actually learning about all of these different fields, which gives you a much more comprehensive set of skills that you can then go onto the job market and apply in a wide range of occupations. So history does, as Nargiz indicated, give you a lot of flexibility on the job market. I think a lot of people, when they think about history and what you can do with it, they think about one thing only. They think about being an educator, which is true. A lot of people, including myself, because I work in academia, go on to teach with their degrees in history, but there really is a wide variety of occupations open to you, again, because of the very wide skill sets that you acquire as a history major. People go on to careers in media, as Nargiz mentioned, law, public health, and medicine. One of our recent graduates was recently admitted into an MBA program at Washington University in the US. So getting a history degree also equips you with the skills that you need to get into finance and the world of business, if that's a career option you're thinking of. It's really limitless in terms of the possibilities for you post-graduation. And part of the reason for that is because increasingly in 21st century job markets, employers are not looking as much for technical skills now as they are for broader kinds of skills like critical thinking, problem solving, critical writing. And these are skills that history gives you because in our courses, much like PSIR, they are writing intensive and they are reading intensive. So you get a lot of practice learning how to do things like develop arguments, learning how to do things like assessing interpretations of the past and assessing conflicting interpretations of the past and figuring out kind of what counts as historical evidence. So those kinds of skills increasingly sought after by employers today on the job market are things that you can get a lot of from history. Secondly, I want to say that history is really great because it gives you a deeper appreciation for the world around you and your place within it. You know, historians ask a lot of the same questions that people in other fields do because, like other social scientists, we're basically interested in why people do the things that they do on both an individual and a collective level. So why do countries go to war? Why do social rebellions and revolutions happen? And also we try to figure out why people think the way they do. We try to get in their heads and think about the mentality of a particular culture or a particular group of people. The difference with historians, of course, is we're asking these questions about the past, because when you learn about what happened in the past, whether it's a war or, let's say, for example, a pandemic, which is what I'm teaching a lot about now, history of past pandemics, you get a sense of how the past is related to the present and how the world that we are living in right now was in many ways built by our ancestors. How we are kind of living out the consequences of people's decisions from long ago. And all of that is very valuable, right? For one, it gives you a sense of how we got into this particular mess that we're into today. And also it gives us a better sense of how we can fix some of the problems that we're dealing with, because when you study the past, you learn what caused the contemporary reality that we're living in right now to come into existence. And once you have a sense of what caused that, well, then of course you have a better idea about how to move forward from it, how to perhaps envision a better future. And this is another thing that's really great about history, is that it actually helps you become a force for positive social change in the world around you. When you study the past, you're studying conditions of existence that are often very different from the world that we inhabit today. You know, you realize that, as is often said, the past is a foreign country. People think and people act in a very different way than they do today. And that is kind of empowering, because once you realize that, you realize that the conditions of life are kind of arbitrary, that nothing is as it has to be. There's nothing that's inevitable. There's nothing that's destined to turn out a certain way. Fate is not something that historians talk about a lot, because we realize that there are specific reasons. There are specific decisions that get made that push the past into the present and the future. And as you realize what these are, you realize, oh, things don't have to be the way they are today. I can make them better. I can imagine a better future reality for us. And I also have a sense of how I can go about making that reality into something that actually happens. So history is really great for that as well. I just wanted to talk a little bit about our actual BA program. One of the nice things about it is that it's very individualized. As Nargis mentioned, we don't have a whole lot of history majors yet. We're a growing program. And so one of the advantages of that for you as a student is that you get lots of individual attention from our faculty, because we're not overburdened with majors. We have time to give you one-on-one attention. And because of that, you can really design an individualized BA program for yourself. You can really go wherever your interests are and plug it into whatever career path you're envisioning for yourself. So the requirements are pretty loose. You can see them here on the screen. You have to take a certain number of courses at lower levels and upper levels. But in terms of the geographical areas you study, in terms of the period of history that you want to focus on, all of that is up to you. If you want to have a very focused approach, you can do that. If you want to sample widely from different periods, different times and places, that's all right too. There are a couple of requirements. We have a research methods class that most students take either during their second or third year that prepares them for the capstone project, which is a year-long thing that you do in your final year of study, where you work very closely with one or two other faculty members in our department, and they give you hands-on guidance so that you can produce an original piece of historical scholarship on a topic of your choosing. This is basically your undergraduate thesis, and a lot of our students use it in their grad school applications, because often when you're applying for graduate school, you have to submit a writing sample. And for a lot of our students, this is the most polished piece of writing that they've ever produced. It's a lengthy paper. It's usually about 30 pages or so. And it looks really great in graduate school applications because it demonstrates to application committees that you have the ability to conceive of an original research project and carry it out from beginning to end, making important new contributions to the scholarship on whatever that topic is. So the senior capstone in particular is a really great thing if you want to do original research, if you want to learn more about what academic history is all about, and of course, also if you're thinking about going to graduate school. For even more information on our programs, I would suggest that you first follow us on Instagram. We have a very active account. We post 1 or 2, 3 things every week. Some of them are about what's going on with regard to our faculty. We give updates about our research, if we have publications or if we've won a grant, or if we're thinking about doing new kinds of work. The Instagram page is a good way to learn about that. Also opportunities in terms of research or internships. That's probably the most up-to-date source that you can find for all goings on in the world of history at NU. We also have a WordPress account. It's not as updated, but it's a good place to go, in particular if you want more information about BA requirements, and also the departmental web pages if you want to learn more about individual faculty, what they specialize in, and the kinds of research that they're doing here at NU. So with that, I think I'll stop for now. And if anyone has questions they want to ask about our major, about what it's like to take history classes here or anything else, please feel free to ask.
Thank you so much, Professor, for this very valuable information in your presentation. And I think during your presentation, Yer Sultan raised his hand. So if you still have your question, you can just unmute yourself.
Yes, of course. I wish to ask a question about what exactly first-year undergraduate students are doing at Nazarbayev University in the history major. Maybe you can name some opportunities to attend to.
Yeah, in terms of first-year students, so so no one declares a major until the end of the first year. And the entrance requirements for our major are fairly low because we're trying to grow the program and attract more students. So if you want to declare a history major, the only requirement is that by the end of your first year, you take history of Kazakhstan, which is a required course that everyone has to take anyway. But once you've done that, I think you need to have a C or above in the class. You become eligible to declare history as your major. Obviously, if you're already thinking about that, then you probably want to take more than that. I would suggest during your first year, maybe try to take 2 or 3 other history classes. They can be really at any level. A lot of our classes don't have prerequisites, even higher level classes like 300 or 400 level. And the reason for that, as I said before, is that we want to allow a lot of flexibility and keep things open so that you can really focus on whatever it is that you're interested in our program. Aside from classes, I would say, really try to take advantage of the time that our faculty can give you. I think one of the signs of some of our most successful students, as Malika was asking about, is that they're really like they're knocking on, well, they're not knocking on our faculty's doors anymore because we don't have in-person office hours, but at least for the pandemic, they're showing up as much as they can in Zoom sessions for faculty that have office hours. They're getting in touch by email. They're really curious and asking about kind of things that they can do as potential history majors. And those questions are very valuable to us, and we can provide you a lot of individualized feedback. For example, just to talk about one thing, over the last year or so, we've had a lot of requests from students who want to become research assistants and want to gain some hands-on knowledge of like working with archival documents, doing primary source analysis, and assisting professors with some of the projects that they're currently working on. And because of that advice, actually right now, our department is developing a course to allow students to gain credit as research assistants. This is something that a lot of other departments have, and soon I think that our program is going to have that too. So at some point in your degree program as a history major, you would have the opportunity to work very closely with another faculty member. And it might be a new project where they ask you to do things like do a literature search or produce a literature review. It could be something where they're closer to the end of the project and they need help with things like putting the final touches on an article or a book. But hopefully by next semester, there should be opportunities for students to take these research assistant classes for credit.
Okay, guys, do you have any more questions? There's someone giving compliments to your Instagram account.
That is run mostly by Professor Claire Griffin, who teaches courses in the history of science and technology. So if you have a minute and you really like it, send her a message. I'm sure she'd be thrilled to hear from you. But yeah, she does a great job with that.
Okay, so are there more questions? So if there are no more questions, I would like to thank you, Professor, for attending this event today. I really appreciate you coming. Thank you so much for your great speech. I think it was very informative. And thank you also, Nargis. And I think we can wrap up this session for history major. Thank you all for attending. I hope you found it useful. And good luck with your studies, guys. Midterms are coming, so study well. So goodbye, everyone.
Bye-bye, everyone. Thanks for coming again. Be safe and be well.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you.